take a breath. Oh, take a breath and just feel your position in this solar system right now. Because we have such a huge shift that has just occurred planetary-wise. On the 13th of February, we had Saturn ingress into the sign of Aries. And this isn't just a shift that happens above you or around you. This happens throughout your entire organism. Because in this solar system, you are one of its many cells. And I'm seeing inside of the cell, you have the nucleus, and inside of the nucleus, you have the DNA, which stores the memory. And I'm seeing this as a shift that you're remembering take place in your life, almost something that you're sitting back and watching unfold, especially when it comes to, I'm hearing the plethora or myriad ways that your life could enter these different trajectories around. But this is a shift that has occurred, and I'm hearing rearranging your entire architecture. I'm seeing the architecture of your mind that shift when it comes to your thoughts, the architecture and how you feel and relate to your position on this planet and what it is that you're here to do. And I'm seeing a reassembly that's happening, or a rearrangement or reconfiguration that's happening in the world around you to correspond with that internal shift that has just occurred. Now, oh my goodness, okay, this is Saturn's ingress into Aries. You already had a prelude or precursor over summer 2025 of what this entailed for you, almost like a preview into the energy that is now settling and the reality in which is now settling around you. So we're going to talk about Saturn in Aries, and also Saturn moving out of Pisces, what that means for you personally, what it means for us collectively. And I'm going to show you some illustrations just to give you a little bit more visuals. I know that you guys enjoy them. I enjoy making them and integrating them into these messages. So with that being said, Saturn in Aries. For years, we've had Saturn in Pisces, and Pisces was not a battlefield. It was a monastery. Saturn in Pisces was the mystic monk, the gatekeeper at the temple door, the silent master who did not shout. He did not command you to act, he commanded you to sit with the fog, the uncertainty, the dissolving identities, and to sit while the structures you once relied upon quietly fell apart. There was no clear instructions, there was no visible path, but only this fog. And this is where the monk would say to you, stay. Sweep the temple floor and watch your illusions dissolve. Feel your ego soften and lose the map and begin to trust the unseen. This was not weakness, it was a refinement period. Saturn and Pisces dismantled what was false, and Neptune dissolved what was fantasy. Your external structures softened because your internal architecture was being rebuilt in silence. You were being trained in something subtler than action. You learned how to stand without certainty. You learned how to listen when nothing was speaking. And you learned how to trust the unseen architecture of your own life. That was the monk. And now the monastery doors open. And waiting outside is the sergeant. Saturn enters 0 degrees of Aries, and this is where the sergeant takes command. This is the ignition point of the zodiac. 0 degrees means there's no history, no script, and no muscle memory yet, but just pure potential. Aries is the spark, and Saturn is the architect, and together they say, move. But here's the key. The sergeant only appears after the monk has trained you. If Saturn and Aries had come before Saturn and Pisces, you would have charged into battle with your ego, and now you charge with clarity. Saturn in Aries is sharp, direct, incarnated. The sergeant barks at you, stand up, act, and decide. But this is not reckless fire, because you've already mastered the fog. You've already learned humility. You've already confronted your illusions. You've already dismantled false identities in the monastery of Pisces. Now the training ground becomes external. In Pisces, you were tested in faith. In Aries, you're tested in courage. In Pisces, the lesson was, sit in the fog until clarity emerges. In Aries, the lesson becomes, build the structure that clarity demands. This is where dreaming becomes doing, your intuition becomes instruction, and your spirit becomes muscle memory. Because the monk trained your soul, but the sergeant trains your will. Saturn in Pisces trained your spirit. Saturn in Aries trains your incarnation. One forged faith and the other forges identity. One dissolved ego and the other rebuilds selfhood. One softened you and the other strengthens you. This is why this ingress feels, well, different. It's not gentle. 0 degrees of Aries is raw, it's untested, and it's young. The energy has no history yet. It's the first breath after emerging from the sea. The soul emerges from the unconscious. That's you during this time. The monk helped you rise from the water, and the sergeant now teaches you how to walk on land. The Sabian symbol for Aries 1 degrees is the exact degree Saturn enters. It gives us this mythic image for this entire era. A woman rises from the sea and a seal embraces her. This is the first breath of a new cycle. The soul emerging from the ocean of the unconscious, the feminine, receptive waters rising into form, embraced by the masculine initiating force. It's the moment instinct meets intention, emotion meets embodiment, and potential meets reality. This symbol speaks to birth, emergence, and the early faltering steps of any new journey. It represents innocence, not weakness, but purity. The kind of purity that comes before experience, before identity becomes shaped by expectation. At the highest expression, this degree reflects independence, openness, and the stirring of untapped potential. It calls you towards growth, towards fresh vision, and towards the beginning of a new cycle of self-discovery. At its shadow, it warns of naivety, impulsiveness, and the risk of stepping forward without discernment. Not because you're wrong, but because the energy is still raw, untested, and young. But here's the part that most people miss. Your opportunity lies in being sensitive to what you truly need. Your advantage comes from expanding your awareness, broadening your view, exploring possibilities, attuning the timing of life with intuitive precision, rather than rushing blindly forward. Guard against headstrong decisions, but do not hesitate to begin. This degree teaches you that new beginnings invite vulnerability, and that vulnerability is sacred. This decan is ruled by Mars, so the fire is strong here. But Saturn tempers it. You're learning to operate your fire with mastery, not with panic. To let your instinct come online without letting it drag you into impulsive decisions. This is the spiritual training ground, the proving field, the warrior entering the first day of disciplined practice. It's where self-doubt rises, not to weaken you, but to reveal where the structure hasn't been built yet. Where confidence grows because you keep showing up, not because you already know what you're doing. So what does that mean for you, mystic monk? It means the phase of sitting in the fog is complete. You mastered surrender, now you master direction. You've mastered stillness, and now you're mastering motion. You mastered spiritual resilience, and now you master embodied courage. This is disciplined fire. This is structured instinct. This is sovereignty forged through both silence and action. You're not being thrown into chaos. You're being promoted from monk to warrior architect. You already felt the preview of this in summer 2025. The urgency, the instability, identity shifts, the burning inner core to move into a new life, the discomfort of stepping into something unknown. But now, this energy is no longer a preview. It looks in. It imprints itself into the next 2 years of your evolution. This is where your personal instinct meets your destiny arc, where your inner fire meets your higher calling, where selfhood becomes sovereignty. You're not being thrown into chaos. You're being initiated. Saturn in Aries is the rebuilding of identity from the ground up, the ignition of courage from within the bones, the maturation of instinct into direction, the transformation of impulse into embodiment. This is the era where humanity rises from passive dreaming into active creation. It's giving yourself permission to begin again. So, My love, let's go ahead and do a reading for you. I'm gonna open up first of all with the Cosmos Oracle message. I don't know about you guys, but I have been counting down the days for this placement to take place, or this ingress. And also on the 20th of February, we have Saturn and Neptune that is coming into a conjunction. So now's the time where your dreams are going to be coming anchored into the physical realm. I'm seeing you're taking, I'm hearing that you're going to see the first steps begin to take place in your life. Okay, this could be the first steps that you're taking towards a very specific goal. I would highly recommend to take a look at where Saturn and Neptune is being aspected in your chart. Okay, what house is that seated in? Is this going to be your home life? Is it your public and career life? Is it to do with your working projects? Is to do with your connections? That's all going to be shifting time. So again, with time, more change down the timeline. This is consciousness moving into a new event. That's what time is. Now with energy at the base, this is something that's being transformed, right? This is energy that transforms itself. And it talks about a charge that's happening on the timeline that you're on, which is very much it, right? Because I see again this Sergeant as Saturn in Aries as someone that, it's so I'm hearing the last few grains that were falling through the hourglass have now all fallen, and now a new time begins. That's what this is. It's consciousness moving into a new event. So that's literally it. Okay, let's go ahead, and this talks about also universal time versus personal time. Saturn, don't forget, is the taskmaster. He will always grant you what it is that you want, but he does require dedication, devotion over time. This is the rule of time, so this actually makes so much sense, right? Because Saturn rules time. So I'm seeing it as Saturn is something, this will come in stages. I'm hearing things are going to be revealed to you in stages. Don't expect to know all the answers right now, especially with this conjunction that's about to take place. Things are going to feel a little bit iffy, even up until about April, and then things are going to become a lot more clearer for you. But this is a very much, as you walk the path continues to unfold for you. Saturn will also, I'm hearing, create, especially in Aries, almost like it's not going to be instantly gratifying by any means, but it's about a long-term vision that you're moving towards. So I'm hearing, don't underestimate what it is that you can do within these next 2 years. And don't overestimate what it is that you'll do within the next 2 months, right? That's very much what this is, because this is the foundations being laid out, all right? That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing Saturn in Pisces was, when you have an allotment or garden and you're focusing on the soil first, the fundamental foundation of something that can actually withstand and hold the capacity of what it is that you're now planting. That's what this feels like. It's something that is going to now hold and sustain the things that you're building, and I'm hearing the legacy in which you're building, which is beautiful. And anything that is removed from your life, or anything that you feel like you're outgrowing, or there's going to be this intolerance with now, it almost feels like that there's going to be certain things that just don't feel aligned, and you're having to go with that new flow instead of forcing things to stay the way that they were for the simple fact that they once had been. That's very much this theme as well. And just know that anything that is kind of you're moving away from, it's not that you're just focusing on moving away from things, it's that you're moving towards something else, and certain things would just fall out of alignment as you go through that next phase of your evolution, because it's a restructuring you in your architecture, really, in your whole reality, in your whole physical world. Right, we also have density, so don't allow any belief systems to weigh you down just because it may not be happening right now, right? This is not going to be pleasant to the ego, because again, this is about avoid making impulsive decisions. I'm hearing to not finish the things that you start right now. This is about seeing something through to completion. Again, Saturn will always reward you, but it does require dedication, it requires devotion over time. Now, constellation at the base is saying that things are actually serving a purpose, right? I'm hearing bus stop, right? Every stepping stone is actually serving a purpose, and it's leading to this interconnected web or network. That's what I'm seeing. Everything leads to everything else. Let me go ahead and read density for you so you can see what this is. And it feels like the belief systems that you once had belong to an old version of self that you've kind of evolved from. So density can weigh down the physical body, especially when it comes to the application of your free will and really, again, applying yourself in the physical realm. This talks about density can weigh down the physical body in more ways than just the literal sense of weight. Different bodies can carry different loads: emotional, family, relational, and mental. This really reminds me of seizing the moment and knowing that there is no time like the present. Okay, so density. It can be difficult to cope with density as the weight presses down. It knocks us over, slows us down, and sinks us. It takes more air and oxygen to make it less dense, such as the denseness of the air, that it contains too much weight for us to bear at the moment. It's something that slows us down and becomes a burden that should be free and unfettered with more room and lightness. In this situation, the recommendation is to relax and become more aware. By dropping the weight, you can make the journey easier by allowing yourself to stop, breathe, make space, and then continue on. The affirmation is, I drop my burdens. So again, this can feel like a burden, time can feel like a burden, but behind constellation, we have time being relative, which is the way that you decide to think about this will change the way that you feel about it, which will ultimately change your energetic signature and the way in which you experience it, okay? Reality is something that is perceived based upon your own internal state of being. So the way that I see this is, there was a saying that was coming through with time. Can you enjoy the scenery upon what is going to feel like a detour for you? That's what this is. Because I'm seeing a new train track be assimilated for you. Assimilated. And I'm seeing it as Saturn is quite stern, where you've kept yourself on one train track, and as it comes into that conjunction with Neptune, an old train track is about to dissolve for you. And that feels like an old paradigm where a new one is being assimilated. And I'm seeing there's an inroad on which you're taking. It could be the less traveled path. I'm hearing it's the less trodden path. That's also what this feels like. Let's go ahead and take a look at the approach with I quite enjoy doing this overlay with the Magic of the Gathering cards and see what the best approach or archetype is for this. Let's see. I'm hearing, what do you need to overcome? And how do you do that? I'm hearing yourself, okay? You will be the only one getting in your own way. We have 3 cards that have come out. Wow. So here is Journey, which makes total sense. This is literally the one that came into my mind's eye. And then you have Exhaustion, which is Titan's Burden. And then you have Be Unstoppable, Minotaur. So I'm going to go ahead and read this for you. So this is to continue going. Really what Saturn and Aries is, okay? It's very much, can you show up even on the days that you're not motivated? Motivation is only going to take you so far. This is about discipline now, right? This is about discipline action. Long gone are the days with Saturn and Pisces and Neptune and Pisces of being a victim to your circumstances and feeling like power is always beyond you and it's always somewhere else, but it never seems to be in your hands. This is about you taking agency over your own life, okay? So let me go ahead and read Hero's Journey. It feels like you're training your like neurological networks. Essentially, you're creating new inroads and synapses within the brain. So I'm hearing your inner circuitry is shifting. Oh my gosh, let me share with you what it is that's coming through. So in the prefrontal cortex, you have a part of the brain called the anterior cingulate cortex, and essentially I see that being a training ground. It's something that you're growing right now. And this basically rules things like discipline and doing hard things, especially when you don't want to do them. And that is something that's been coming up for me during like my training. I've been, okay, you don't want to run today? Well, guess what you're doing? It's like that game that you're kind of playing with yourself. But I'm seeing that as you're exercising your consciousness and you're actively disrupting your comfort zone. So this is the part of the brain that basically delays any kind of instant gratification. It talks about long-term planning and executive function. Also, it motivates regulation by sustaining attention. It allows you to choose the harder but better option instead of the easy one. And the thing that I find the most fascinating about this is heavily trained athletes, entrepreneurs, and artists, or anyone that, consistently push themselves through times of resistance, especially mentally, actually have a bigger anterior cingulate cortex. And that's what I'm seeing. It's like you're exercising your comfort zone, beyond something that would feel comfortable, but also and familiar, but unfulfilling, compared to something that feels unfamiliar and would actually be more fulfilling for you. And I just see that being something that I'm hearing viewing, right? Rendezvousing, or something that you're kind of dancing with, right? It's like you're kind of flirting with the idea of becoming the version of self that does that thing, the highest possible expression or response to aligning yourself congruently in the physical with something that you mentally may not want to do. I'm hearing, or the ego may not want to do, but it's incredibly rewarding and enriching for the soul's journey. That's what this is. It's congruence, and it's about embodiment. There's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path. It would be very easy for me to just like, there's some days where I'm like, let me just cycle home. Like, I can't be bothered. But then I'm like, okay, you don't want to do it. And I'm like, I'll go into the change room and I'll talk to myself. I was like, you don't want to do it? Okay, you're doing it. And there's something around just giving yourself that countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Don't even think about it, just do it. And it's not going to be rewarding at first. The first 10 minutes is going to be not rewarding at all, because you don't even, you have no dopamine, you have absolutely no motivation. But action is actually something that increases motivation. You gain motivation once you start. It's your action that actually brings forth further clarity for you. So I'm seeing that be something that is going to continuously be activated in your life. It's going to continuously be reactivated until it eventually just becomes, I'm hearing, a new way of being. It becomes, first of all, like a course of discipline, and then it becomes a habit, and then it becomes something that is just naturally a part of who you are. So I'm seeing that happen, right? Okay, so hero's journey. Knowing yourself is the hero's journey, and you won't regret it either. Like, there's not one time that I've made myself do something that is a bit challenging or, hard mentally, and I've ever regretted it after. There's always this feeling of, pat on the back, well done, you did good. So knowing yourself is the hero's journey. Your intention is your ship, your truth is your sword, and your awareness is your torch. With the greatest treasure and the wisdom of the ages, your arm will be stripped as you slay the dragon. And this is more of like an internal dragon. This talks about there's no escaping the hero's journey, and refusing the call is futile. Let go of resistance, face your fears, and find your truth. Now let's talk about exhaustion as well, right? Because exhaustion is the excuses that you could tell yourself. I'm hearing to keep postponing something, or keep pushing it down the timeline. But how can you begin to anchor that future into the now? I'm hearing, even if you start small, don't underestimate how every tiny decision you make creates a branching universe, right? Right, let me read Be Unstoppable for you. Where is this? Okay, so you have the power within you and an inner resolve that makes you unstoppable, which you can access when you know what it is that you truly value. When you merge this resolve with your passion, you can move mountains. Don't get lost in fear and doubt. Connect to the earth and find the strength in your core. That's the one thing, right? Fear only feeds off of doubt. And self-doubt is going to be something that does come up inevitably, right? With Saturn and Aries. This could be about you doubting your potential, doubting your ability in this area of your life. But this is about you becoming greater than that voice of doubt, okay? That's to become greater than the mind, to become greater than the emotions, and to master your relationship with the physical, because you first mastered the relationship that you have with yourself, which is showing up for yourself, even in those small, I'm hearing what could feel like minute ways. It reminds you of Spirit showing me this scene where someone had, depression, and, he wanted to clean his room and clean his space, but he didn't feel, motivated in any way to do that. So he started small. The first thing that he did was bring the Hoover by his doorstep, and then he brought his shoes outside of the room. Small things like that. Each day, right, where he was taking incremental steps that led him towards eventually he was taking that act to actually begin to do this thing. Because sometimes there can be this sense of shame or insecurity, and I'm hearing the beginner's breath, right? Allowing yourself to be bad at something fast, right? It's like you don't have to be great to get started, but you do have to get started to become great at something. And that is applicable universally in all areas of your life. So below don't get lost in your fear and doubt. Connect to the earth and find the strength in your core. Speak your truth and don't get pushed around. Bellow like the bull if you must, okay? And then we have exhaustion. So no one give yourself permission to rest and know when to rest, but also know the difference between resting and procrastinating, okay? Especially with something that you know that you should be doing, or something that is going to, you know, be beneficial for you. So we have, most of us are lugging around some heavy weight. And I feel like, honestly, this is going to be the burdens that you put upon yourself, okay? I'm hearing even you feeling like something is a burden. Well, you no longer have to carry it. Even if that's an opinion that you once had, okay, or the opinions of those around you, it's not yours to carry. Most are lugging around some heavy weight. It could be the emotional armor that protects us, a painful memory, or a crushing sense of responsibility. If you're lugging around such a burden, find out what binds you to the boulder and release yourself, or risk becoming exhausted. Breakdowns are good. Our mind often won't let us quit out of pride, duty, desire, or fear. And they can keep us working indefinitely on something that doesn't fulfill us. Yo, this is like, are you going to continue to do something for the simple fact that you once did, but it just no longer resonates with you? Yes, it's like you've mastered that art, or you've mastered that, but allow yourself to begin to tread into new terrain and see what that looks like for this version of self. You know, hitting rock bottom is often the key to getting us sometimes kicking and screaming to the truth. That's very much Saturn energy, you know, because it can feel like punishment, but really it's about a reassembly that takes place. It's about things falling apart in order for them to fall into place, right? You can stubbornly keep putting you know, a jigsaw piece puzzle together in a certain part of the picture and trying to force it into place, but really that piece just doesn't fit, you know. And there's something around honoring that. There could be an area of your life that feels like that, where you're having to honor a reposition that must take place. And it's leading you towards that bigger picture as well. Know that it's supporting that, not taking it away. Don't continue investing into something because you're mistaking the time that you invested into it as something that's makes it valuable. There's no time like the present moment. This is knowing that don't be afraid to start fresh. Don't be afraid to start over. That's what this reminds me of, because it served its purpose. And now there's like a new purpose in your life. That's what this feels like, something that you're applying yourself to. And then we have the warrior at the base. So let me go and find the warrior. This is very much the sergeant energy, right? The warrior. This reminds me of that scene in Bugs Bunny. I don't know if anyone remembers that scene of I'm your rabbit. And he has the unicorn, you know, like the unicorn scene. Oh my god, I love that scene. I was growing up. So there are times where we must bring forth the warrior. And what's interesting is the unicorn in my tea leaf message deck talks about trusting your intuition and basically things paying off when you do that, right? So there are times where we must bring forth the warrior, whether it's to discipline ourselves, to accomplish a task, or to stand up for what we must feel is right. And what's interesting is Saturn is very much responsibilities, right? It's about duties, and I'm hearing doing or due diligence. So what are you going to actually be, what do you feel like there is a responsibility that you're taking on, and which area of your life does that pertain to? Right, so whether it's to discipline ourselves, to accomplish a task, or to stand up for what we feel is right, let go of any excuses to find the warrior within. Has everything become a fight? Is everything scattered? Have you forgotten your inner strength and self-love? If so, get back to what really matters by clearing out any clutter, doing away with negativity, and keeping things simple. A warrior needs focus and discipline. Aries is the god of victory and warriors. He represents the indomitable will and determination to overcome any obstacle. That reminds me of like a Queen of Wands vibe, right? Because even in the face of challenge or adversity, she will keep, I'm hearing, attesting to her strength. By how she applies herself in the physical. She will continue to face those obstacles head on and actually thrive as she does that, right? Your soul thrives through resistance in this realm. You grow from resistance. Let's go ahead and get a soul's journey message for you as well and see what it is that you need to hear the most during this. I'm hearing this initiation, the beginning of the initiation. Loneliness. I know that I'm never alone. What a beautiful card to come out, because you have friendship at the base, which says, I understand that a friend is in my life for a reason. Now, loneliness could feel like you are being called into solitude, but it just feels like there is a internal relationship that you're cultivating with yourself, where you're becoming a friend to yourself. You know, this is about you becoming your own source. You're becoming your own source of support. You're becoming kinder to yourself. You're becoming more compassionate to yourself, because if your compassion does not include yourself, then it's not complete. Loneliness. This is also support that you have in the divine realms. Okay, so I know that I'm never alone, because what it is that you feel like also you're going through subjectively is also a collective theme right now. This card has come to you because you must be reminded that there is a difference between being lonely and being alone. Feelings of loneliness originate from a sense of not appreciating the most important person in your life, you. If solitude seems like an affliction, you need to do work on creating a healthy relationship with yourself. Only then will you attract others who will nurture your soul. If you don't develop a healthy relationship with yourself first, you will only draw unhealthy relationships to you. And I do feel like you've seen that take place in your life in one time or another with friendship, right? A friend came into your life for a reason, to maybe mirror those wounds to you, right? Maybe to reflect that to you, where maybe you were seeking external support. What it is you wanted from another person was actually something that you were able to supply yourself with. Once you heal those resonant wounds and you integrate them, you become whole with them, and you nurse that aspect of self back to health, then you actually see mirrors of wholeness, okay? So to create a healthy, positive relationship with yourself, you must first begin to feel worthy of love. The pessimism of this physical dimension can affect your self-esteem. If you don't have a strong conviction that you are valuable and meaningful, don't view solitude as a weakness. It's merely your soul telling you that it's time to do some inner work and reevaluate your path before you start to shine. As you sit in the silence of your soul, you'll realize that your spirit family, teachers, and guides are with you. You're never alone. So this is a step that you must take, and you must take alone. Okay, this feels like a journey that feels not just vibrational, but it's also personal to the self. That's what this is. It's a new rebuilding of selfhood. You've been broken down with Pisces, Saturn and Pisces, right? That was like any kind of tangibility, any kind of, you know, structure. Basically, it reminds me of something that I said when I was in Peru. And I was doing a reading on, I think it was like the Fool's Assembly, where he was essentially assembling a plane while it was up in the sky and he was flying. And that's what his journey felt like. It was like he was getting started, but things were still feeling kind of like chaotic along his journey, but there was a secret ordering and something cosmic that was also happening underneath the surface that he could kind of admire in that moment. And others definitely admired from below. What was my point? I was going to say something. Oh gosh, what was it? I think I was going to say something around, I guess it doesn't matter so much. But I'm just seeing it, you know, it matters in how you show up for yourself. It matters in, gosh, what was it? I know you know how that feels, you know, when it comes back around. If it comes back around, it's meant to. But maybe you were supposed to just hear that. Maybe it was just the, I know my future self is watching this back and it's like, girl, it's this. I'll let you guys know in the live chat in the comment section below if I remember. But yeah, that's what it is, you know. It's like there's this assemblage point that's taking place. The Fool's journey. Again, it's that new leap. It's a leap of creation, okay? Let's go ahead and take a look at also a Shaman's Dream Oracle message too. Wow. Fast breath, beginner's mind, okay? I knew it. That's why I said this card. I said this card. I said the title of this card earlier. And what's super funny is at the base you have empty well, time to replenish. So this is knowing what feels like it's no longer in alignment with you. This talks about, you know, the well that was once super flourishing has now run dry. and there is no more water left in this well. But within this, the subterranean depths of your own heart, and how the heart is guiding you in a way that the mind doesn't fully understand right now, there is a new spring oasis that you're being led to. And that feels like a flourishing existence on earth, right? For what feels authentic to this version of self. Let's talk about 21, fast breath. A fresh start, renewed curiosity, natural trust in the beginner's mind, right? 1 degree. When the fast breath card shows up, it's time for you to leave the old stories and tales behind. You arrived, take a deep breath and then another. There's nothing else that you need to do but take in the new world that is revealing itself to you. Trust your natural curiosity. There is no need to dwell on how difficult the journey has been or how tight the passage to get to where it is that you are now. Just take it all in and experience the awe and wonder of your arrival at this destination. Even if it's a familiar place that you've come to many times before, try to experience it as if for the first time. For you are renewed, and the old you is no longer your concern. Practice the beginner's mind, not labeling or naming the experiences that you see. That situation that was difficult only a few days ago, just be with it and breathe. You've already gone beyond it and have overcome and resolved it, even if no one else realizes this yet. Soon enough they will, as you move on. Do not squander the power of the fast breath, giving the old narrative mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Use it for a new beginning, to animate a world that you can play and create in. Do not underestimate the power of the breath and the magic of the word. That's very much what this is. It's honoring how the soul wants to express itself through form. And it just feels like there is a expression that feels like it brings you joy, and your sense of joy is what, innately where your soul's gifts are also residing. And every single being is gifted. If you wonder if you have gifts, we are all equal, sourced from the same wisdom. All right, every single human on this world has gifts. It's not just I have gifts and I have abilities. Okay, everyone does. It's whether you're tapping into what it is that is uniquely aligned with you, because you're as individual as a snowflake and as important as the brightest sun, but also insignificant as a grain of sand. So remember yourself as all and nothing simultaneously, okay? All right, let's go ahead and continue. Let's take a look at Gateway of the Light activation deck and see what's being activated in your life. We have I am presence. I am that I am, right? All and nothing simultaneously. This talks about light body activation, accessing the divine within. Now, what's beautiful is you have serious star blessings at the base, which is proceed, be seen, push through. It's a very, very auspicious card. It basically talks about if you've been thinking about starting some kind of creative project, well, now is a big fat yes. It's a big fat confirmation. It's a moment where you see that shooting star in the sky. Let me go ahead and read I am presence for you. So, I am presence. That's so beautiful because Aries affirmation is I am. It's I am, right? It's personal to the self. So, the I am presence is frequently mentioned in the Ascended Master's teaching. It's the individualized presence of the divine that rests within us all. Personally, I see no difference between the I am presence and what other people call the inner teacher or higher self. Very true. It's the aspect of divinity that lies within us, offering us great wisdom. It's the inner Buddha or Christ consciousness. It's the part of the soul that has never forgotten that it's connected to the divine love, even when our faith is challenged. There's a part of us that knows there's something out there, or in there, and it's the I am. The card is a gateway that allows you to reflect upon the fact that this incredible, infinite being is within you, always aligned with love, always offering wisdom. I'm hearing you're exactly where it is that you need to be at this stage of your evolution journey, and don't doubt it. I'm hearing don't forget it. This also, for a long time, the I am has been dormant, and we have been encouraged to believe that we are insignificant and powerless. But the more we connect with the divine, the more we realize that it's resting gently within us. We are the divine expressing itself. We are the facet of the God particle, having an individual experience, but we are part of the whole. That's exactly what this is. The ego likes to put people on pedestals and look up to these figures when they're really reflections of what exists within them. vice versa. Sometimes we put ourselves on a pedestal and, you know, we forget about our interconnectedness to all things. So how you speak to yourself matters, okay? Place your hands on your heart and your belly and say, I call forth the core of my being, the mighty I am presence, great universal cosmonaut, star being, star power. Thank you for standing at the forefront of my heart and mind. Thank you for leading the way with your divine intelligence. You're experiencing a great shift, which is helping you understand yourself in ways that were previously impossible. This is an exciting time, and you are connecting with the highest form of intelligence within you. The body of light within you is growing brighter and brighter, and you are becoming aware of how your actions and choices affect the unfoldment of your future. The bright light that the bright light you are is expressing itself unapologetically. That's what this is. How the soul wants to express and experience and play within form, you know? So, with that being said, I'm going to love and leave you right there. I feel like that is going to be exactly what it is that you need to hear at this stage. And yes, that's going to be it, guys. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing because we'd love to have you around. Personal reading details are also down below. Also, check out Autospirit if you're looking for some high quality AAA grade jewelry. I have cardamom on today, sunstone and citrine. $1 of the proceeds are donated towards otter sanctuaries. You can see the otter spirit symbol right there. It's upside down on this bracelet. And that will be it, guys. Let me know where this is being aspected on your chart if you know what zodiac sign you are when it comes to your rising sign, where this is aspecting you. You may want to click at also your sun and moon sign as well. That's going to tell you the other themes that are going to be occurring in your life and how that's going to mesh and blend and intertwine and overlay as this is a multidimensional construct. And until next time, bye!